Hey, what's up everybody? It's September 12th, 4 p.m. Hot in Jacksonville, and just came out here to the Beeyard to take a look at the hives, see how they're doing, judge it by the front entrance, and to take off the entrance reducers that I put on for Hurricane Dorian. So I'll get into the hives this weekend, check back for that inspection video. By the time I get into them, it will be 3 weeks since the last inspection, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's take a look at each of the hive's entrances and see if we can see any pollen coming in, which will most likely be goldenrod. Alright, this is hive number 1. Not too sure how this is coming up on video because I'm in a bit of a shadow from one of the pine trees behind me. But hive number 1 seems to be fairly docile, just kind of hanging out on the front porch. A few bees coming and going from foraging. This is the hive that I'm kind of questionable about, but we'll see how they're looking this weekend. This is hive number 2. Now that I'm facing to the west, probably can see them a little better because the sun is getting low on the horizon. Hive number 2, very strong, excellent honey producer this year. Can't remember how the super is looking, but figure that out here shortly this weekend when I get into them. You can see a few bees facing each direction, some facing in, some facing out. For those of you that may be new or just interested in bees and beekeeping, that's how the honeybee regulates the temperature in the hive. And when I'm done shooting this video, I'm going to take the entrance reducers off now that the weather's back to being mild, as in Hurricane Dorian is a thing of the past now. And just some mild bearding, which is very typical when it is rather hot. I don't know the exact temperature, but it is easily in the 90s, and it seems very humid like usual this time of year. Alright, here's a look at hive number 3. This was a swarm that my buddy caught on his property. He lives about three or 4 miles away. This colony, this hive has turned out to be equally as strong as hive number 2. Let's get a little closer if we can. Got quite a few bees coming and going, and as you can see, some bearding as well. They're just trying to stay out of the way so the hive can maintain its temperature and humidity. And a little bit of a spoiler alert, if I can remember correctly, this super is the one that they are drawing out nicely, and the queen has started to lay eggs throughout. So given the last inspection was about 2 weeks ago, those eggs should be capped by now, and some of them have probably hatched out. And last but not least, hive number 4. If my memory serves me correctly, this was a later swarm that I caught. Later as in, I believe, May or June. I'd have to look back at previous videos. We're back facing the west, so you can probably see the bees better on the landing board. And some mild bearding as well, very typical given how hot and humid it is. They're just trying to stay out of the way so the rest of the hive can regulate its temperature. This was the hive from last inspection I was kind of worried about. I didn't see too many good signs this time of year going into winter, now that it is mid-September. So between hive number 1 and hive number 4, those are the ones I'm going to be paying extra attention to this weekend when I get into the hives to inspect them for September. Hive number 2 and 3, very strong, no worries. I would be surprised if they didn't pull through the winter. It seems weird, I guess, perhaps to some people, to be talking about the winter in September, but you always got to be planning ahead. And in fact, if y'all check out my video that I post this weekend for September's inspection, I will be adding candy boards to the hives. I'm adding them about 2 to 3 weeks early this year due to some work commitments that will prevent me from being able to add the candy boards in mid-October, but nonetheless they should serve the same purpose and help them out when the cooler weather starts to move in. Alright, that does it for today's quick visit to the Beeyard. Just finished up mowing the lawn. Wanted to see how the bees are doing, just simply judging by the front porch activity. So threw my bee jacket on. Although this thing is ventilated, with how hot it is easily in the 90s. Humidity is probably north of 80%. And given that I've been outside for the last hour or two, it's time to wrap this up and get inside. So hey, check back this weekend for September's inspection video. I will conduct an in-depth inspection on each of the hives, and I will be adding the candy boards. So a little bit of a spoiler alert there. If you don't know what a candy board is, hey, check back this weekend and I'll show everybody what it is, how to use it, and why to use it. It's a bit of an insurance policy for your bees as far as overwintering them. So that's all I'm going to say for now. Check back this weekend for September's inspection video. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to receive notifications for future videos, and I'll see everybody in a few days.